This just confirmed what we all feared. Some new reports recently released about a certain player's injury that has been lingering for quite some time for the Bears. Welcome to Bears Digest, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Dylan Guinzy. Thank you for joining me once again. If you have not subscribed already, please do so. 91% of watchers over the last month are not subscribed. It's very easy to do. Hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things Bears. We're going to be here with it in terms of rumors, breaking news, information, game recaps, everything like that. So be sure you are clicking that button to be here with me. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. Ravens versus Bears in a couple of days. Big game. It is looking like Lamar is probably going to push through and play. That is Lamar Jackson, the Ravens quarterback. And it's a big one for the Bears and kind of a measuring stick game for them as well in terms of where they are at against very, very good offenses and elite quarterback play. So, going to be very interesting. Let me know your thoughts down below, of course. But today we have some more injury updates and an article that just came out the other day from a Bears insider, beat reporter, whatever you want to call it, going further into detail on a certain injury that's been lingering for a Bears defensive player for quite some time now, since about week 1. So we're going to get into all of that discussion and, of course, some positive news towards the end as well on that same front. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Brad Biggs released a Grady Jarrett update the other day through a variety of different podcasts and shows and radio shows, Mully and Ha, everything like that. And then Heavy Sports came out with the same article regarding that. So Top Bears Insider drops concerning new update on DT Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett was recently signed to the Bears here in this offseason. Some people question the move. I, for one, did as well, especially with the money he was being paid. And then kind of right when the season started, he was nowhere to be found and then came down with an injury and has been out for a while now. But every week he has kind of been like seemingly in practice and then just ruled out at the end of the week. And we kind of had no idea what was going on. So we have more clarity on that with Grady Jarrett. So Grady arrived in Chicago with quite a bit of fanfare, 2-time Pro Bowler with the Falcons, signed a 3-year, $43 million deal. Jarrett has struggled to stay on the field. Lingering knee issue has limited that availability. And what was meant to be a statement signing has been something else entirely. We can kind of stay on that track with Ryan Poles' signings here. Across the board, there's a lot to point there, and Poles needs to be a lot better with his signings, especially one like this with aging veterans. In an October 20 appearance on 670 The Scores, Mully and Ha Show insider Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune said he believes Jarrett had a procedure done on his right knee already this season. So that kind of goes a little bit more into detail as of why he's not been playing at all, even though trying to get back into practice, and why this has lingered for so long. And they didn't put him on IR either, which is kind of a weird situation in that case. So going further into this, of course, Brad Biggs talking about Grady Jarrett. He's still hobbled a little bit. You could notice there's an issue with his right knee. Biggs said about Jarrett, I believe that he had a procedure done on the knee, so we'll see what his practice situation is like this week as they try to get him back. He's had a ton of durability throughout his career. So on the durability front, I guess he's been durable, but as he's gotten older here and he's kind of in the latter years of his career, he's definitely not been durable. So I guess that's up for your own interpretation, but Grady Jarrett has kind of been a failed signing at this point, especially with the injury, that he's dealing with and all the lingering stuff. So that's my belief. Biggs said he got hurt in week 1. The injury happened in week 1 in the opener, and then he tried to play through it. And I think that they realized that, we need some rest. We need to take a look at this thing. And so that's why when he was out there, you didn't see Grady Jarrett. You were hoping to, because he hasn't been at full strength. But like you talk about the position, they've got ample number of guys on the defensive line. So I guess that's one positive about this is Grady hasn't been out there, and obviously he hasn't been his full self. And maybe that explains why we didn't see a lick of him, in that Vikings game. Like, you just never heard his name. Like, he wasn't there at all. And like we talked about previously with defensive guys, you want to hear their name being called, right? They need to be in on the action. Offensive linemen, you don't want to hear their names called because they're usually doing something wrong or committing a penalty. So maybe that explains why we haven't seen that kind of juice out of him. So hopefully when he's finally back here pretty soon, that he'll actually show a little bit of his worth and that knee is more healthy there, because that contract, as we're seeing here, is not the most favorable. The uncertainty around Jarrett's health has added some understandable concern. In his early 30s, a season removed from an ACL surgery, and has appeared in only 3 games this year with no sacks so far, Chicago didn't commit significant guaranteed money, nearly $28 million, for a rotational piece. But again, that's kind of redundant, right? Nearly $28 million for a rotational piece who's in his 30s, that's a lot of money. I don't care what you say. That's what I'm saying. Grady Jarrett has not performed at a level that is warranting $28 million. So as he nears his return and gets back on the field, I know we have some guys that are capable of playing at a decently high level. You know, we got Billings, we got Dexter, and guys like that. But we need more. We need more out of that group. We need more pressure. We need more sacks overall. Right now, we're kind of generating sacks from different areas. We had 2 defensive backs get sacks last week against the Saints. And if you're going to go deep into the playoffs, or you're going to be a good team down the stretch, especially when, you know, cold weather hits and it starts getting really grimy and gritty on the field, you're going to need a lot of defensive line, you know, pressure and gusto and rotating guys in with fresh legs, everything like that, as the season continues to move forward. So on the Grady Jarrett note, like, the signing was a little bit questionable at the start. Poles said he wasn't expecting Grady to be available in the offseason. He ended up being available. And then they picked him up for that D-line help. And I appreciate them going kind of all in for the trenches, or at least, you know, putting in a lot of effort into the trenches. But it really looks like a failed signing so far. And, you know, Grady Jarrett's got to get back. He's got to get back quick, and he's got to play well, you know, before the end of the season to justify, you know, this move going forward and being confident into next year. So the positive news to kind of wrap all of this up is Grady Jarrett, as of today, Thursday, October 23rd, was a full participant in practice. That was the first Thursday practice that he has been full in quite some time, I believe. So we will see the updates as they come out here on Friday's practice, October 24th, and that's going to be our game designations for this week against the Ravens. And with that, if he is questionable or a game time decision, whatever that may be, that at least provides a lot more confidence than we've had in weeks past, where we kind of got no answers. It was limited and then no practice and then didn't play. So getting Grady Jarrett back in the fold and potentially Austin Booker as well would be a big boost, I would think. Maybe not right away. I think just down the stretch as those guys, you know, get healthier and get back into the swing of things. I think it'd be a lot of a much needed boost for Chicago and this Bears defensive line. So positive news to close all of this out after, you know, some more truths are coming out about Grady Jarrett's injury and his, you know, lackluster start to the season, you could say. The positive news is he is back in full at practice and looking like he is on pace to play this week, if not this week, back next week for the Bengals game. So we need him. We need that more juice. We need that veteran presence, that IQ that he's got. That's always important to pair with young guys and other guys across the defensive line. So Grady Jarrett back in the fold potentially here this week. We are going to discuss final injury report and game designations tomorrow, Friday, October 24th, just 2 days before the Baltimore Ravens game on the road at noon. So, of course, thank you guys for joining Bears Digest once again, and we will be back tomorrow. And bear down.